your personal health should be part of your business infrastructure. Because your health is the number one asset. If you're not there to run your business, then who's going to run it for you?
Yeah, no one, absolutely no one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Quality of Life Quest. And today is my very first interview with Ildiko. Is that how you pronounce it correctly?
It is indeed.
Right. So, you tell me, what is it that you do exactly?
In life, in business?
In both, if you want to.
Okay, let's start with life. Well, life is actually completely overwhelmed with business right now.
Right.
For all my sins, I started podcasting as well. I launched my podcast about a year ago. And then on the back of that, I started a speaker academy. And on the back of both, I launched a business. So I'm now a routine and performance strategist. Oh. And of course, if anybody has started a business, they would know that it takes some effort and a half and the rest to get a business off the ground and get clients in and learning the ropes, learning absolutely everything about it from a standing start. It's not been easy, but it's going. I'm super excited about it. But the best thing is that it stemmed from something that was already quite substantial in my life.
Okay.
So I'm just at the stage now where I'm bringing it to fellow entrepreneurs for them to see what it does. And that is having an amazing health routine that looks after every pillar of health.
Brilliant. Kind of ties in with the Quality of Life Quest. There you go.
Indeed.
And that's how we got together, because we both attended a podcast meeting here in Peterborough. And it was you who took the initiative to do an interview. You've done many. For me, it's the first. So it's going to be an interesting day.
I'm glad I've been able to inspire you and hopefully bring a different angle to your podcast to talk to someone else. But yeah, I always set out to do interview for my podcast. So for me, every episode has been an interview, although just recently I actually started to share that knowledge, that routine knowledge in short solo episodes.
Okay.
They are almost like little mini training sessions in a way, or sort of little information sessions to help people understand what it's all about. Because, having a health routine that looks after every pillar of health really strengthens you every which way, every single area of your life. And then you are able to deal with life's difficulties, the overwhelm of business, and make sure that you don't run into burnout. Because I'm not going to hide it. I do have some 16-hour days. Yeah. But because my personal health routine grounds me from the moment I wake up, I do run into overwhelm, but I don't run into burnout.
Right.
Because I start with me. So my absolute belief is that your health is the number one asset in your business.
Yeah.
Because if you are not healthy, your business can't be healthy.
Yeah.
You are the vehicle, you are the engine that pulls along your business. That's the trailer. Your trailer will never, ever overtake that vehicle.
Nope.
So if you don't take your car for an MOT and you don't get it serviced, it's not going to pull that trailer. If you don't look after your body and your health, then your business is going to stagnate as well.
Yep. And not only business, but life in general.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So you've got a bit of an exotic name. Can you give a little bit of background of where you're from and how you got to this moment in life?
Oh my word, I'm turning 52 very soon, so probably you don't want to hear the full life story. But I'm Hungarian born. I was 21 when I came to England. It was really an opportunity, funny, back at the time, and for many years afterwards, people said, oh, you were so brave. Well, I was just sort of running away from things that weren't happening. And I suppose it sort of set me up in a way that it was an opportunity and I took it. Okay. And although I kind of then stagnated for a lot of years, I suppose, but looking back, it does help me nowadays to see that. And of course, when you get into business, you start doing some self-development and business studies and everything else that sort of supports what you want to do. You realize this, you need to take opportunities. I mean, one of the best things I've ever heard was that opportunities don't disappear. They just move on to someone else.
Right. Okay.
So I suppose that was one of those. So at the age of 21, I ended up in London. I kind of worked my way through the usual kind of jobs. I was an au pair first, and then worked in a bar while I was still studying English and computing, and then got myself a secretarial diploma and started working in an office. And by utter chance, I ended up in social housing, which I used to call my career detour. So I did 14 years in social housing. I covered a whole bunch of jobs, worked my way up from receptionist through customer service advisor to supporting the housing and repair teams. And then my favorite job was rent recovery. I love numbers, I love structure, I love order. And I was very proud to say that, I never evicted anyone, yet I reduced rent arrears in that company by a number of percentages, which may not mean much to people, I suppose, as a little throwaway remark like that, but it was quite an achievement. Certainly the part that I never evicted anyone.
Yes.
In order to recover debt or put an end to it. So that was something I was very proud of. And then I worked a little bit as a kind of welfare officer, and then in supported housing with people who were in dire need. They were homeless. So yeah, I kind of covered a broad variety in social housing. And of course, all of that has given me a huge amount of life experience and work experience. And then life turned upside down. I lost my job. I've never been out of work. And life took a very interesting turn at that point. I went to do some business studies, and the collateral was my marriage.
Okay.
Because I came to realize that, absolutely no disrespect to my ex-husband whatsoever, we just weren't made for each other. And it took us 14 years to work it out, really. Which is kind of sad in a way, but then whatever, we spent 14 years together, we loved each other, and in the end we parted amicably. But from then on, I did absolutely everything I ever wanted to do.
Right. And starting your own business was on the list of things you absolutely wanted to do?
Funny you should say that. It wasn't.
It wasn't.
What was on the list was going to uni. Okay. Because back in Hungary, I went to art school. So I studied art and design, and leathercraft was my specialism. And I'm literally classically trained. We did live drawing and modeling, like clay modeling, and like full nude drawing. So that was our A-level exam. We had like 2 days to draw full nude with surroundings and everything. Okay. But, over the 4 years, we were classically trained to be able to do that. And then alongside, we did our crafts. So mine was leathercraft. In my class, there was photography and painting and sculpturing. And that was our A-levels in all of these subjects: art history, the specialist subject, live drawing. And then we did like calligraphy during 1 year, that kind of stuff. So we did very few humanities, and like literally like 2.5, 3 days worth of humanities, and 2 days all our art and design.
Right.
And then, of course, I wanted to go to uni. But in Hungary, it's very, very hard to get into, because there's only one fine art university and one applied art university. So even back then, when I was 18, and to this very day, about 1,200 people apply for 100 places.
Okay.
So it is very hard to get in. And I tried 4 times and it didn't happen. And that's when the opportunity came along to come to England and work as an au pair, and I took it at the time. So 20 years on, at 38, I went to uni. I went to Plymouth College of Art and enrolled onto a BA Textiles course and completed it successfully.
Brilliant.
We bagged 2 awards on the way, and it was amazing. And that was indeed what I always wanted to do.
A textile degree.
Yeah.
And
well, the art and design degree. And yes, well, of course, different universities, different colleges have different courses, but locally, I was very fortunate that there was a local art college at the time, and then it turned into university 2 years later. I was able to complete that longed for design degree, and it was amazing.
And now you don't use it,
Well, the sad side of that story is I did try.
Right.
I did try, but my kind of love was to do unique pieces.
Right.
And what I found was that at the age of 41, when I graduated, I didn't really have the life, I suppose. And I had a dog at the time. to go off to London and do like 21-year-olds do and go and work for nothing as an intern to make those contacts. Because, that's a very well-beaten path that when you come out of university with a design degree, you go off to London, you start as a skivvy, quite literally as a skivvy in a design studio. That's all I know. So again, no disrespect on any design studios. It's just, I think it's a path for a year. And then you hear some amazing success stories. If you put the effort in, if you put that drive in, you bite your tongue, you go and get yourself a job in a bar or a restaurant or whatever, and you do make your teas and coffees for people, and then you keep your eyes open, you keep your ears open, and you learn and learn and learn and make contacts. Yeah. And that's how you kind of get into it, and then you sort of gain that experience where then you become a designer at one of these studios when you've sort of spent their student time, quite literally. Now, at 41, I was not prepared to do that anymore. So that was a sad end of it. I did try. I did have my own design studio for about 3 years. I was a founding member of an artist group in Plymouth with fellow graduating students. We founded an artist group called Rhizome Artist Collective, which is still going, some 10 years on. I was also a member of a local artist group, and I was sitting on the board of that group as well. We did, I don't know, at least 4 exhibitions in a year. But the problem is, because I did unique things, it's very, very hard to get an audience. It was a bit too unique, and I was not in a position, as I say, I didn't go off to big design studios to get myself into magazines and on the telly or whatever, some big prestigious galleries for people to find my unique pieces. And I was, again, not prepared to mass produce cards and small items to be able to put out hundreds and hundreds of items at a design fair or art exhibition to sell for £2-3. Yeah. So the input is high, your time, your money, your investment into the pieces that you produce. But those sort of 4 exhibitions a year are not enough to return money. Yeah. So sadly, but both me and my husband did it because he's a photographer. He does nature photography, I used to at the time, and he would print it on all sorts of different materials. So it was very interesting. So together we would be doing craft fairs and exhibitions, and it was really nice, but we came to realize that we couldn't make a living out of it, certainly not in our mid-40s. It was just not quite the thing. And then we went into property.
Yeah, as you do.
You do. And that's where business kind of really started as business. Because, the design studio was a business. And I did actually try and do a business before, making leather pet accessories. But again, I had no idea how to run a business. Right. I kind of launched it and then did nothing because I just didn't know. And I mean, the design, when I took it a lot further, I was actually, as I said, putting myself out there and selling. But it just wasn't creating income. And now, at the end of the day, doing the podcast is actually a very, very creative process. So although I don't do design, I don't do textile design, and I don't do leather craft, but doing the podcast is a creative outlet.
It is.
I love it.
Yeah. Good. It's a very mixed bag, and it's quite amazing how many similarities there are. Even though I did not go for an art degree, I have done a lot of needlework and knitting in particular. And for a while, I was knitting unique pieces for people, so unique tops. I found that most people don't really know what it is they want. So for me, the attraction was, someone tells me what they want, and then I make it to size. So these are the yarns you can choose from. These are the colors you can choose from. And then, let your brain go wild with it, whatever you want. But a lot of people don't know what they want.
People's imagination is not always. I remember watching all those property do-up programs, but the whole point was that she would go in and she would just kind of clean up people's houses ready to sell, or maybe like decorate a room or just declutter a little bit. But it was always amazing to see, or like, location. Anyway, the property programs and people's imagination is just not non-existent ever so often, too often. It's quite surprising and kind of makes you wonder why.
Maybe a lot of people don't move house very often. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
But I suppose the same with clothing. And funny enough, I've never been one to follow fashion.
Yeah, no. No.
I actually, nowadays, I really love charity shop shopping because I love colors. And you go into a shop and all you see is black, white, and maybe a little bit of beige, and now and again a little bit of color. But if it just doesn't, that particular style that's out there, it doesn't suit your body shape, then I'm not going to buy into that season's stuff. And then I go into a charity shop and then you've got these rails and rails long of pink and red and yellow and blue and all sorts of colors of clothing. And then you can pick up some most amazing pieces, often with the tag on.
Right. Okay.
So brand new. And I love it. I love color in my life. I don't do grey.
Right. Yeah, I don't really do grey either, but I'm more muted than you are. I'm more autumn. You're more vibrant in your colours, aren't you? I've seen some of your podcasts. And
my branding, I mean...
Vibrant pink, yes.
Yeah, for those who are listening, my nails are bright pink. Totally on brand with my own podcast.
Right. Did you have it colour matched?
Absolutely. Well, almost, but kind of. I suppose I did ask my nail technician to show me all of the pinks that she had. And then this one is not just pink, but it's got sparkles in it as well. Little magnetic sparkles. It's like, that's totally me.
Right. And I don't do pink and I don't do sparkles. But there are quite a lot of similarities, actually. It's interesting.
As far as the quality of life quest goes, I think I've kind of found it. You know, the little 5-year-old in me has completely come out and flourished with this amazing pink branding for my podcast. And now I'm just matching everything to it.
Yeah.
Do you prefer ad-free listening and viewing? Would you like to see your questions answered? And how about live Zooms? Would you enjoy discounts on everything from artwork to courses to one-on-one chats with me? Become a founder member. Go to thequalityoflife.quest to find out more. See you on the other side.
So when we come to you promoting being the healthiest version of yourself and to have a routine that fits you or your client, do you have a top 3 of things that are the best return on investment? Maybe not monetary, maybe it's time-wise, or do you have 3 top things that always work? People might shy away from it, but that are non-negotiable for you.
Okay, that's a double-sided question because it's whatever works for someone else and whatever works for me are different. And the simple answer is no, but I am going to go into detail.
Okay.
So there are 5 fundamental health pillars.
Okay.
There's intellectual health, mental health, physical, spiritual, and emotional.
Okay.
Absolutely everything fits into one of these.
Yeah.
And, a lot of things actually overlap as well, but nonetheless, you can still kind of fit into one of those. So I can go into 5 rather than 3, or pick out one. Although the way I approach it all is when I work with people, we find what suits them.
Right.
Because what I do is, and what I promote is not like, here's a template, follow it, because that doesn't work.
No.
Every single one of us is different. And different things will work for different people, and we enjoy very different things. So the whole point is that we find what suits you. So I can tell you what I do.
Right.
I do a lot of stuff for my physical health in my morning routine, because some of it is kind of like working through a whole day or a whole week or just simply your life. But then I do actually have a set morning routine, and it is quite physical health heavy. So I get up in the morning, I start with a glass of freshly squeezed lime water. I then do 15 minutes exercise in my own lounge, because I personally find that going to the gym and coming back from the gym is a waste of time. And also using gym equipment is kind of not really up my street. See what I mean? So that doesn't suit me. And funny enough, a couple of weeks ago, I had a personal trainer called Mark Broadbent on my podcast, and he was very much talking about how bad it is for us to do weight training on machines, because you should be moving your body, you should be twisting your body. It's like walking and running. Imagine how much your body moves sideways as well, rather than just up and down and forward and stuff. And like, babies crawling. These were the examples he was coming up with. So I'm very pleased to acknowledge that all the exercises that I do actually very much fit in with what he was explaining. I don't have a cold shower, because for me, that's everything. That's good for my blood flow, my heart, my lungs, because I do a lot of deep breathing. It's good for my mental health, because I do gratitude in there. And all of it, I splash my face for a little while first, and that kind of helps with the getting used to it. I then have a cup of green tea, which is kind of my caffeine intake in a way. And then I sit down to do a meditation session, some affirmations, and some journaling. So as you can see, this appeals to the physical health, mental health, spiritual health. The intellectual health comes in a little bit later, because at that point I then do some focused work, and then I have breakfast that I consider nutritious, although it is carb heavy, so some might argue that they don't like that, or some people do intermittent fasting. So so again, different people do different things. And then I listen to a leadership little 5-minute video during breakfast. So that's how I appeal to physical health, intellectual health, mental health, spiritual health. And then emotional health is kind of slightly different, because that's more like building relationships. So it's less what you do on your own, and it's building boundaries, whether it's in your life or within business. Although actually that's not true. That is one very, very important part of emotional health management, is self-compassion.
Right.
And I do that when I finish my cold shower, and I do a full body lotion. And then when I put my face cream on, I actually stand in front of the mirror and I practice self-love.
Okay.
This is something I've known of before, but again, I had a guest on just before Christmas called Kellen, a Canadian guy. He's truly amazing. He's got so much energy. It's unbelievable. And he talked about it in great detail, that how incredibly hard people find to stand in front of the mirror and say into your own eyes, I love you.
Right.
I'm proud of what I'm doing. I'm happy with myself. So I personally didn't find it that difficult, but he said in his practice, he said that is one of the hardest things that people do or don't actually, because they just can't. But I did it with someone recently. She was kind of feeling low, and I dragged her into the toilet with me and I made her stand in front of the mirror with me, and we did it together. And she was really quite taken aback. And then once we said, I love you, literally close up to the mirror into your own eyes.
Yeah.
And then you can elaborate on that. I love you for what you do. I love you for what you stand for. I love you for who you are. And then go into actual detail. I love that you help people. I love that you hugged your dog this morning. You can go into real granular action and detail with it, but just simply stand in front of the mirror and say, I love you repeatedly for a little while, not just once or twice, but maybe a minute.
Okay.
Or like Kellen recommended, 3 minutes. That's a huge amount of time. So so basically I appeal to every pillar of health in my morning routine, and that sets me up for anything and everything that comes beyond that.
And so when you work with clients, do you have a toolbox of emotional things they can choose from? Do you have a toolbox of movement they can choose from? Is it a kind of pick a mix, or how does it work?
Pretty much, absolutely.
Okay.
I have like a sheet of 12 different things, and that's kind of like the starting point for each health pillar. Now, when it comes to physical health, it's less about movement, but it's more about the different things. So within physical health, there are actually 5 sub-areas that I cover. So movement, rest, nutrition, hydration. These are not luxuries.
Yeah.
These should be the absolute integral part of every single day.
Yeah.
To move about, like take micro breaks and walk around a little bit in between tasks or in between your focus sessions.
Yeah.
Get away from your desk, do a bit of stretching, step out and walk around your own house if you work from home, or walk around the block. If you're at work, walk down the car park and back, all sorts of tiny little things. So yes, this is then gets discussed in detail, but the micro movement or micro break recommended is take a 2-minute or 5-minute walk
Okay.
How you do it, where you do it is up to you.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, nutrition, look at what you eat. Look into options, because some people are just so set in their own ways. And then again, some people swear by plant-based diet. Some people swear by intermittent fasting. What worked for me, because I used to be a considerably larger girl for a lot of years. And then about 7-8 years ago, I followed a program which recommended to separate carbs and fats.
Right.
So I have carbs with my breakfast and lunch, but I don't have carbs for dinner.
Okay.
I just have meat and veg or meat and salad. And then incorporate the fat in there, or maybe I just leave whatever, obviously just a little bit of fat. I use to fry the meat, fry the vegetables, or something, like shallow fried, or just a tiny bit on it, because whatever, you do need fat, just not a lot of it. Yeah. But then I have peanut butter, homemade peanut butter. That's not peanut butter, because it's ground nut. I do use tree nuts like almonds and hazelnuts and walnuts, and make my own nut butter.
Yeah.
And have a couple of spoonfuls of that for like dessert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can tell you what I do, but I don't expect you to follow that. What I encourage people to do is pick whatever suits their lifestyle. I mean, I don't have children. If you have 2 young kids, then certain things might be difficult.
Yeah.
And then the fifth one in physical health is your environment. It's the environment you live in, the environment you work in. How cluttered is it? How uncluttered is it? Does it suit you? Does it serve you? So then, yes, with each session, going into each health pillar, I do equip my clients with a list of things that they can choose from, or they can come up with their own solutions, because, 12 things is nothing, but it might trigger a thought process like, I could do this because that would fit into my life.
Yeah.
And then you commit to it.
Yeah. And also what I get from the things you have said so far is that the things you do, they don't cost the earth. They just do them. Maybe pen and paper to write down your gratitude things, or maybe a yoga mat on the floor. So you don't
do that. I have a carpet in the lounge, so I don't need that. I've got arthritis in my knees, so I can't kneel. So I just pick a cushion off the sofa and kneel on that.
Yeah,
that cost me £0.
Yeah,
to do my exercise. The cold shower, again, it costs a bit less than the normal one because I don't use any gas. I use a little bit of water. Yeah. Sitting down with a cup of green tea, you know what I mean? Everybody drinks
something,
whatever number of teas and coffees in a day.
Yeah.
My meditation session, I do now subscribe, but that's like £40 for a year.
Okay,
that's nothing, because then I can get a little extra stuff on the app.
Yeah.
Although this particular lady's meditation sessions are available free of charge on Spotify. So for about 2 years or so, I was just listening to her on Spotify, and then eventually I decided, well, I might as well support her as well. It's like a mutual thing, and then I signed up to her annual membership. So yes, none of these things, and come on, standing in front of the mirror and talking gratitude and self-compassion to yourself really costs absolutely nothing.
No.
And then exercise that to other people costs absolutely nothing. So yes, that's very well observed, that the action does not have to cost a thing.
No. And it also doesn't seem to cost a lot of time either. Maybe the exercise, but 3 minutes in front of the mirror, most people spend more time, looking in the mirror to do their hair or makeup.
Yeah. And this is where actually then what's called habit stacking comes into it, which is a well-known phrase from a couple of self-development books. When you do something already, that's the easiest way to implement new habits into your life.
Yeah.
When you do something already and then you just tag something on the top of it. So it's like when I do, literally I just rub the face cream onto my face while I stand in front of the mirror, and at the same time look into my own eyes, and I'm grateful that I exist.
Yeah. So with all the pillars you've got and all the subsections you've got for that, what are your clients' ultimate sticking points? Because they need to, well, first they make a choice and they think they can do whatever it is they choose because that's why they choose it. Do they come to a point where they say, actually, this is a bit more difficult than I thought, or I can't do it, or I can't stick to it, or are there any sticking points?
The biggest one, the absolute biggest one, is time. But if you don't have time to look after yourself, then you really, really, really need to think about this hard enough to realize what's going to happen to you if you don't look after yourself.
Yeah.
Then you are the absolute right candidate to look into this program. Or the whole concept of looking after your health in a structured way. But certainly when you are in business, so this is the way I put it across, is that your personal health should be part of your business infrastructure. Because your health is the number one asset. If you're not there to run your business, then who's going to run it for you?
Yeah, no one, absolutely no one.
Yeah. So time tends to be the one. The kind of realization. So I had clients who were quite aware of most of these things, and then when we started to drill into it, they came to realize, actually, for some time now, I've been really quite badly affected by this family matter. And I didn't even realize that over the last 2 or 3 months, I've actually drifted away from my otherwise what I thought was embedded routines.
Yeah.
She shared with me. So it was like, doing the program made her realize that, hang on a minute, other things are taking too much of my time. I'm now not managing either myself as well as I should or could, or my business. So by the time we got through the program, she then distanced herself. So that's the emotional health part, setting boundaries. She distanced herself from the family matters as much as she could, but still being compassionate with the family members, just not letting them eat into her time too much.
Yeah.
She then reinstated her own health routines that she dropped off in this process. And she realized that she was concentrating on focusing on her work, on her business so much more. And then suddenly, only then she realized that things were getting delayed and delayed because she didn't have her eye on it.
Yeah.
So then, of course, it shows on your bottom line because they were doing a refurbishment project. And then suddenly, when she was back on the ball, things were happening and they were finishing it much quicker than at that point she thought they might be.
Yeah.
So it's you, it's your relationships, it's your business, it's absolutely everything that's affected when you don't look after yourself.
Yeah. Do you find there's any difference between male and female, how they react to your program, or?
Yes and no. I think it is purely down to personal preference. I used to have my own perceptions, but it's not actually. I'm finding that it's just kind of wrong, like a bit of a sexist one. Like men are not that spiritual. There might be some foundation to it. And actually, my own true life story is like my husband's story, that I wanted to involve him in my meditation practice, and he ended up having a panic attack. And I thought, it's like it should be the opposite effect. Turned out that he had some trauma. I can't actually remember the details, but some trauma that affected him. But then just simply talking about it, that, how do you look after your spiritual health? And it's like, okay, it's not all about sitting and, chanting a mantra and stuff like that. It's about looking after yourself and finding your purpose and, connecting with yourself and be aligned with what you stand for. He personally found that he can go into the gym, have a session, then go into the spa, sit in the sauna, no telephone, no nothing. And he can be with his own thoughts.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's this amount of freedom. It's just then dealing with the flood of thoughts coming and then remembering half an hour later when he's out of the sauna and writing them down.
Yeah.
But you see what I mean? So he then found his own path through the conversation. But of course, the conversation took place and ideas were thrown in and that got him thinking. So this applies to other clients as well, where, okay, I can give you ideas, but then see what suits you. And then once you find that, then commit.
Yeah, makes sense. So how do people approach you? They hear of you on YouTube or Spotify, or they come across you on the internet somehow, and they say, "Oh, that sounds interesting." They give you a call, and then what happens?
Well, It's the routine revolution. I'm leading the routine revolution because that's my vision for entrepreneurs to understand the importance of their personal health in order to run their business successfully. So yeah, if anyone searches for routine revolution, they should find me. I mean, my name is unique. If they are listening to your podcast and they look at the guest name, Ildiko Sealey, that's unique. They'll find me. My podcast is Routine is Revenue, because as we talk through it, literally just the example I've just shared with you, one of my clients just simply reinstating some of her health routines, recognizing that things kind of knocked her sideways. The result was there a few months later on her bottom line. So yeah, her feedback later on was that, it was amazing. And she now realizes that connection between her personal health and her business health.
Right.
And that is exactly what I would like to put across.
Brilliant. That is a good selling point. And what happens when people get in touch with you?
We have a discovery call because obviously we need to establish that it is the right thing for the client or the prospective client. And then what I offer is an 8-week program. So we do like a little bit of a kind of, for not much of a better word, but an onboarding call in a way. But that's kind of like, I outline the program and then go through everything just a little bit, just so that people start to understand where we're going to go and establish a starting point. And then we spend 6 weeks going through the T.E.M.P.L.E method. So I've got this framework, the Temple of Health for Wealth, and the T.E.M.P.L.E, the T.E.M.P.L.E stand for each of the parts of the framework. T for time, because that's where you start as the foundation to it all. Yeah. You need to establish what you're doing with your time, find your time leaks where you're wasting your time. And then the following 5 weeks, we go through the 5 health pillars: intellectual, mental, physical, and spiritual health. And then the pediment of the temple, the roof that holds it all together strong, is emotional health. We finish on that one. And then the 8th session is all about long-term planning.
Okay.
It's how to, just to revisit everything and making sure that everything has been implemented. Now, I don't expect people to implement a whole bunch of things every single week, just one thing every week. And then once that's all fully implemented, then at least they have a framework to go on. Because, if you take my example, I started my morning routine coming up about 4 years ago. It was about May time that I started listening to that leadership mentor who I still listen to. And he recommended look after every area of your health. And I started to do that. And it was only about 3 or 4 areas. But then I started to feel the benefit of it and just started with a 7-minute exercise routine in the morning.
Right.
That was it at the time. I then added meditation to it and then started adding all the other bits and bobs. And then I realized, okay, I need to get up earlier and earlier. But now I do, because looking after myself is the absolute number one priority for me, especially over 50. When you start to realize that, oh dear, I'm nearer to the end than I was to the beginning. And if I don't look after myself, then I'm going to pop my clogs. Yeah. So, so basically over the 8 weeks, we sort of, as I say, so session 1, go through the framework. Sessions 2 to 6, deliver the framework and help people to find what suits them. Yeah. And then the 8th session is long-term planning and having a roadmap for the individual for them to carry on
for the rest of their lives.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, they can still swap and change and adapt, but at least they've got an idea. As you say, they've got a framework.
Yes, that's very important, because otherwise you sort of get lost a little bit. But if people want additional accountability and additional support, then I can offer follow-up for 3 or 6 months. Calls and the additional support at the end of it.
Brilliant. Good. So where can people find you? You said
Routine Revolution.
Routine Revolution. Oh, sorry.
Routine the website. And there's a questionnaire there that people can download and just make a start, to see which health pillar is their weakest, where they are crumbling perhaps, what needs to be strengthened with a bit of mortar.
Okay.
You know, building is of bricks and mortar, isn't it? We have to rebuild ourselves when we find that things are just not quite as good as we would like it to be. And there is also further down on the website, there's a button where people can literally just book in for a call, and we can have that clarity call.
Okay.
To see where they are in their life with their routine and what they would like to implement and what their plans are for the future.
Brilliant. And you will find all the details somewhere in the description. Is there anything we haven't covered yet of which you say, oh, yeah, I really would like to talk about that?
No, you've been very kind asking me plenty about my business. Thank you very much for that opportunity.
Welcome.
And I think I've kind of gone into some detail. No, I can't think of much, but all I know is that, I'm certainly on the quest for the best quality of life. And I'm really, really pleased that I have found this route for myself, because I suppose it is kind of just the norm that when we are young, we think we've got all the time in the world and we don't care, and we just can't see into the future, obviously. And at like 20, we think 40 is so old, and you come to 40 and 50 and I still feel so young. You know what I mean? And coming up to 52 and feel really, really young. And but at the same time, obviously, age is creeping up, and, you know, through menopause and brain fog and joint issues and all the rest of it. And it's kind of like, if I want to live a good quality, healthy, long life, then I've got to look after myself, full stop.
Yes. Wise words indeed. Thank you very much. It was lovely to talk to you. It's really, really nice. This, as I said, this is my first interview. So, you made it easy. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. People, this was it. May the road rise up to meet you. And until next time, see you. Bye.